park, you have the high-rise offices and condominiums and complex, and the park plays such a critical role in the atmosphere of the city. Closer, even in New York, you've seen redevelopment over the past few decades with huge parks springing up in New York City, in Manhattan itself, on the waterfront, and in other areas of New York City. And there's many other cities in South America where this exists as well. And what this government is enabling to do, the Prime Minister is on record as creating public spaces as a means of providing service to the Jamaican people. You'll have seen the Harmony Beach Park in Montego Bay, also led by the UDC. You'd have seen the Portmore Park, that 26 acres, that's been implemented by the UDC as well. And now we have the Kingston Waterfront Park. I'm not saying that is what the name is going to be. UDC, Office of Prime Minister, they retain that function. But you're going to have a park being developed on the waterfront, which, when the government invests in this way, it reduces the cost of private sector investment. By making such a significant investment downtown to put a park, it is going to incentivize commercial developers, real estate developers to follow behind this investment of the government, and in so doing, revitalize the space of downtown. Now, importantly, this park is being designed with people in mind, the people of downtown Kingston, the small businesses that operate, having a public space that people can enjoy. Already, downtown represents that. You go down to that waterfront off of Ocean Boulevard on a Saturday evening or a Sunday evening, and people are assembled there. They're taking their families, they're walking, they're relaxing. On a holiday weekend, it is full. And this is without substantial investment. Just imagine, we can't imagine what it will be when we have a full park developed on downtown Kingston and Ocean Boulevard is pedestrianized. The role of the Ministry of Finance has been a coordinating one. The implementation agencies is the UDC and the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, and the World Bank is providing financing and the technical expertise. This is a game changer and a means of demonstration that we are leveraging economic stability in the people's interest. Lowering our debt is not an end in itself. It is merely the means to an end. And that end is a better quality of life of Jamaicans. We pursue better quality of life by implementing policies through which income can rise. But income alone is insufficient. We have to cultivate an environment that is conducive to good life, good quality of life, good public spaces that people can enjoy. And that is what we celebrate here today. I want to pay special tribute to the World Bank, who have labored with us on this. It has taken much more time than we would have wanted. And I want to thank them for sticking with us on this. And I must commend the energy and passion and vision of people like Glenn Christian, who on my entry into government, one of the first persons was Glenn Christian and his energy for downtown. I want to say to you that that energy is what is represented here. Yeah? By putting this park downtown is going to make what you want and what many people want much more feasible. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Minister Clark, and thank you certainly for underscoring Jamaica's commitment to revitalizing the waterfront, and in so doing, promoting Jamaican stability for the economic stability for the Jamaican people. At this juncture, I'd like to invite Ms. Leah Burnchuk, World Bank Country Director for the Caribbean region, to share her remarks.
Good morning, everyone. Today is a very exciting day for me. Every time when I go to Kingston downtown, I see a lot of potential. I see the waterfront, and I see how the waterfront can flourish. I see how the whole area and communities around the waterfront can flourish. But today, this potential is underutilized. And the program that we are presenting today, that we will be signing today, has the transformational potential for the waterfront, but not only for the waterfront. I really hope it's the beginning of the urban renewable and transformation in Kingston and the Jamaican economy, because as Minister Clark mentioned, Kingston is the main city, is the economic center of Jamaica, and it's very important for this economic center to be also a modern city, a city that has very good livable conditions for everyone. So this program, and I'm highlighting program because it's not just the project that we're signing today, it's a longer term vision and program which will include several stages. So this program will be used to transform downtown Kingston. It will create an iconic and multi-purpose waterfront, as the minister described, but it also will expand economic opportunities and will strengthen the capacity to attract the private investment, because this is where development will come from the private investment that hopefully will be stimulated by this development in the waterfront. It will also support community development, and that's another very important part, because the park is built for the community. The park is built for the people who live in downtown and in Kingston at large. So the first phase of the project will include the design of the park. And the park will include recreational facilities such as bike paths, playgrounds, sport grounds. We'll also include some street furniture, benches, and landscaping. I already can picture it. It's going to look beautiful. But I would like to highlight that it's not only about infrastructure. As I already mentioned, it's actually about creating thriving neighborhoods. It's about creating a thriving economic space. So it will include adaptable markets. It will include event spaces for art and entertainment, music, which is so essential for Jamaica, providing local entrepreneurs with income-generating opportunities. It will also provide support to small businesses. Small businesses, local entrepreneurs will receive training in business plan development, operations, accounting, marketing, but also businesses will receive in-kind support through equipment upgrades and energy-efficient appliances. And the emphasis will be placed on youth, because this is the future. But very importantly, the waterfront is also expected, as I mentioned, to catalyze the overall development in the area and attract the private investment, the big high-rises that the minister mentioned from elsewhere. We hope that these big high-rises will also be the reality in waterfront in Kingston, in downtown Kingston. So the first phase one of the project is scheduled to take place during 2024, 2029. But we will not wait until 2029 to start the second phase. The second phase is envisaged to start in 2025 to 2030. Hopefully, when in 2030 all the activities are finished, we will see a very different downtown down the road. So combine the two phases of the projects are expected to benefit over 7,000 Jamaicans. But its transformative effect is expected to be far-reaching in terms of transforming Kingston into a modern city and improving residents' quality of life and improving the livability of Kingston. Thank you.
We thank the country director for sharing. At this point, we'll now move to invite CTD Alison Hemmings to share brief remarks on behalf of the Office of the Prime Minister and further insights on the importance of this partnership with the World Bank. CTD, your remarks, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. the Honorable Nigel Clark, Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Lilia Burunchuk from the World Bank, Diane Black, Deputy Financial Secretary, Economic Management Division, Mr. Robert Honeygun, General Manager, UDC, Dr. Wayne Henry, Director General, PIOJ, other heads of entities, senior government officials, all good morning. It's an honor, ladies and gentlemen, to bring greetings this Friday morning on behalf of Ambassador Dr. Rocky Mead, Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister. As you may be aware, the Jamaica Social Investment Fund falls under the auspices of the Office of the Prime Minister, and it was established as a vehicle for the delivery of social services to communities in a manner that is effective, transparent, and non-partisan, and which forms part of the Government of Jamaica's National Poverty Alleviation Strategy. In particular, the Kingston Waterfront Improvement Project is derived from the World Bank's strategic approach to support the government in its effort to accelerate urban regeneration in downtown Kingston. The general objective of the project, as we understand it, is to develop high-quality designs to improve the Kingston waterfront, expand economic development opportunities, and enhance the institutional capacity to enable future private sector-led redevelopment. This is a welcomed initiative that is expected to address the implications of climate change, revitalize economic activity, and development in and around the capital city, Kingston, repurpose underutilized land, and attract private sector development. This is an initiative that underscores the commitment of the government to make Jamaica a place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. The Office of the Prime Minister is indeed encouraged by this seminal undertaking this morning of the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding, which marks the start of long-term partnerships and collaboration between the lead entities, several key ministries, departments, agencies, stakeholder groups, and most importantly, the residents of downtown Kingston and its environments. Thank you.
Thank you, CTD Hemmings Allison. At this point, we'll now move to invite the Managing Director of the Urban Development Corporation, Mr. Honeygun, to make brief remarks on behalf of the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Mr. Honeygun, your remarks, please.
Thank you. Good morning, distinguished partners and guests. I'm bringing greetings on behalf of P.S. Arlene Williams, our Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, as well as the Urban Development Corporation, which has been a sterling partner in this particular project. The redevelopment of Kingston's waterfront is more than just a facelift. It's a bold statement of intent aimed at transforming the area into a vibrant, inclusive space where Jamaicans can come together to celebrate our culture, history, and community. The Kiwi project is the first segment of the Kingston Harbour Walk, the 25-kilometer linear park that will extend from downtown Kingston to the historic town of Port Royal. This harbour walk will not only reconnect the city to its coastline, but also act as a catalyst for economic growth, social inclusion, resilience, and environmental sustainability. Lloyd tells me I should stick to the script. The Urban Development Corporation has been driven by one central mission dating back to our founding on March 21st, 1968, which is the development of downtown Kingston and to spur its economic revival. If you drive across downtown Kingston, as we all do, it's fairly evident, Minister, that the beauty, the life, the very innate entrepreneurial understanding that Jamaicans have is well represented in that space. To me, downtown Kingston happens to be one of the most beautiful places in the country. Look through the grit and the unpainted walls temporarily, and you can imagine what that space will be when the Kiwi Park is there, and then that development starts to spread across all the other blocks, one block at a time. For 40 years, we've all been discussing downtown Kingston, Minister. And what today signifies in my mind is the most comprehensive, clear-minded approach to the redevelopment of the city, of downtown Kingston, in taking a section, the section along the waterfront, which is perhaps the most beautiful, best high-price section in any other city, and transforming that first. It's a clear-minded approach to how you redevelop a city like the city of Kingston. And that focused energy now is what we're going to take forward to the rest of this very ambitious project. The success of the project, Minister, will depend on partnerships with our fellow Jamaicans, partnerships across government and with our international partners, and of course the private sector of Jamaica. And I certainly want to pause here, as you did, to recognize my own Deputy Chairman, Mr. Glenn Christian, in his unwavering, unending crusade to transform downtown Kingston into the parks and urban areas that he spends most of his summers in Paris and London and those places. The second leg, of course, will follow in due time, shortly. And, of course, the Planning Institute of Jamaica, who have been positively deliberate in their efforts of bringing synergies and alignment across the government's many agencies and also working with our international partners and friends. You know, as we move forward, we're filled with optimism. The redevelopment of Kingston's waterfront is a long overdue investment in the city's future and in Jamaica's youth. The UDC, of course, is proud to be leading the effort to create a space that will be the beating heart of a renewed Kingston, one that honors our past while boldly embracing the nation's future. Thank you.
Thank you, GM Honeygun. At this stage, I now invite the Minister on behalf of the Government of Jamaica and Ms. Lilia Brunchuk on behalf of the World Bank to facilitate the signing of the Kiwi SOP1 loan agreement, and in so doing, reaffirm the strength of the continued partnership between the GOG and the World Bank. Thank you, Minister Clark. Thank you, Ms. Brunchuk and team. At this juncture, I'd like to invite Minister Clark to now make his concluding remarks as we bring today's visibility ceremony to a close. Minister Clark, over to you.
Thank you. The next phase of Jamaica's development has to be about human capital development. And human capital development, of course, involves health and education, but it also involves other activities that help human beings to develop their faculties. And recreation is a very important part of that. What we have done here today lays the groundwork for a transformed environment downtown. And development has to proceed with complementary action. So given that we're moving in this direction, my personal opinion is the way in which you go about assets that you have has to take into account that this is coming. Once this investment is made, the value of everything else around it goes up materially. So you're going to want to stage in order to maximize what you have. We're down there with you. The economic complex is down there with you, and that BOJ holds land there, and that et cetera. And the idea, but it's finite. So you want to maximize what you have, and so sequencing is key. Yeah, my personal opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, I am absolutely excited. Look forward to seeing the designs from afar, which I think are going to blow people's minds when they come through. And just again to thank you, everyone, for the part that you each has played in where we are today. There was a trip to Washington by JISTV and by UDC where they went to see the multi-billion-dollar redevelopment of downtown DC, which has taken place over the past 15 years, which is absolutely amazing when you compare it with what existed before. So the UDC and JISTV have invested heavily in this project, and the World Bank has tremendous experience in this kind of development. And so it's a perfect combination, and we're looking forward to seeing the great results that come from this. Thank you, everybody. Thanks to Dr. Wayne for the role that PIOJ played as well. Huh? And he's the most important role he has here today. He's chairman of JISTV. They only put his PIOJ. What do you think? Eh? He need a double one. Yeah? So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman of JISTV, and looking forward to seeing the great work that emerges. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let me thank you for being with us today for this visibility ceremony as we lay the foundation for advancement under the Kingston Waterfront Improvement Project and reaffirm this invaluable partnership between the Government of Jamaica and the World Bank. We certainly look forward to this collaboration as we take the steps necessary to improve and enhance the Kingston Waterfront for the benefit of the Jamaican community and underscore the government's commitment to fostering a vibrant and accessible waterfront for all. At this time, if the media, any questions from the media?
Yes. Andrew Laidley from the Jamaica Information Service. Just wanted to clarify with you, Madam Country Director, the logistics in terms of the timeline. Did I hear we'll begin the first phase in 2024 and now, right? On to 2029? Is that what I heard?
Yes. This is the life of the project, but the project has many components. And we're starting with the design, which then will be implemented as part of phase 2, but we're also starting many of the other activities that I mentioned in terms of community support, in terms of supporting small businesses, and those are going to take longer until the end of 2029. But we hope the design will take much shorter, about a year, maybe a little bit longer, and then we will have the second phase to start implementing. And when we end both phases in 2030, we will have a beautiful park, but we will also have all other activities in place for small businesses, for the environment for the private sector to come to invest and so on.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
If I may just add to that, some perspective. Sometimes we tend to think of development as just bricks and mortar. We're going to go down there, we're going to scrape off the gravel, we're going to knock down some building, we're going to put some fertilizer, put some grass, and we have a park. That's one way of doing development. What we're attempting to do here with the World Bank, and that's why their input is so crucial, is that this is holistic development. The park is what we all see, but what we're doing here is far more than simply a park. That's where the time will come in. This is an integrated development project where the surrounding communities will have access to development opportunities, the small and medium-sized businesses, community rehabilitation, etc. And all of these activities are activities that take time. So the physical park, the design, as Lilia mentioned, the time, you have to procure you have to have a RFP and then procurement, and then the person might take 8 months, 6 months to design. So the design can be done in a year, year and a half or thereabouts. The other activities of making sure that this is a holistic development, that is not just a physical thing, but the people's lives have not been transformed, right? That is what takes the time. The transformation of people's lives in the surrounding communities. And that's the advantage of working with the World Bank on a project like this. If we went the other route, we would have a park for sure, but people's lives would remain the same.
Thank you, Minister. Now, my next question is for you, Minister, or for Mr. Honeygan. What kind of strategy is in place to ensure ownership in terms of community ownership of the space, and to ensure that beautification of the actual space is maintained so that we can sustain the kind of development that you just spoke about?
Well, when you go into a space and you design and build out a park, one of the first important things that happens, and certainly is going to be happening as part of the Kiwi Park downtown, and that's why JISTV is such a critical partner in what we're doing, is that there is community outreach. There is community, an integrated approach to including the community in understanding the magnitude of what the park is and the economic opportunities, as well as the beautification results that you have in a park in downtown Kingston. There will be a series of interactions, never-ending interactions with the public in downtown Kingston as the park matures and as we go through each phase of the park development, right? It's a holistic approach, as Minister has mentioned as well, to how you put in physical infrastructure and also change the minds and approaches of the people who are going to be interacting with that park. So for us, as part of the activities that we'll be doing with JISTV, there will be many public meetings. There will be many advertisements and press releases and interactions across media, social media, traditional media, and also in person in the communities around the park and also wider afield. So there will be ownership. I'm sure that one thing about Jamaicans, as you can appreciate, is that we love beauty, and this is going to be a beautiful park.
All right, thank you, Mr. Honeygan. Minister Clark, back to you. I understand that the World Bank is providing $12 million for this project. Is the project being jointly financed by the government, or What is the overall figure for the project?
So the total project through all its phases, including, is going to be a $40 million project across all components, right? Which is not just the park itself, but all of the ancillary activities to ensure that people's lives have been transformed. It's a social development project, hence JISTV and UDC together. Now, Jamaica needs technical resources and technical assistance far more than we need financing and money. We're not partnering with the World Bank because of their money or their financing. We could have financed it ourselves. That might not be diplomatic to say, but it's true. The value add of the World Bank is that you're talking about an organization that's essentially a knowledge bank that represents a reservoir of talent and experience gathered over 80 years from working with 190 countries. So what we get is best in class advice, and we have access to technical resources, to methods of doing things that we wouldn't have otherwise access to. And that is why we're partnering with the World Bank. Jamaica needs, we're at a stage of our development where we can, and we have plans for $11 billion worth of new tax offices, billions of dollars worth of new judicial court complexes. Hospitals are being constructed as we speak. There'll be plans for, to eradicate the shift system with the construction of new classroom and blocks across schools. We have the opportunity to transform our country on the back of this economic stability that we have earned. The challenge that we face is a challenge of a deficit in technical resources, and this is where partnership with institutions like the World Bank can be most helpful.
If I can add, just quickly, in terms of methodology, as Bobby Honeygan says, as a JISTV operates, we tend to do a lot of engagement with the community, as it's a social investment, engaging the community to empower. And so a lot of projects would have some community contribution, which creates the buy-in and ownership at the community level. And that's important for sustainability. That's important in some cases. We empower trained persons to be wardens in terms of sanitation projects, empower them to be community leaders and build community infrastructure. And that's a part of the transformation that the minister speaks of, because this is a long term, it's transformative, it's a game changer, and I think it's very important. So the engagement continues. The engagement has started for many years. Glenn Christian can tell you, I used to be in the private sector, and a lot of engagement and that sort of anticipation and buying. So we look forward to outcomes, we look forward to transformation, and as Minister said, improving people's lives. So thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and thanks once more to our viewers on JIS and the streaming services. This concludes our ceremony for today. Until next time, pleasant morning. All right. You may treat yourselves to refreshments at the front on departure. Thank you.